Hello and welcome to Empyrion Planetology. My name is Escali and I'm going to attempt, after several failed versions of doing this, how to show you how to add a POI into a randomly generated playfield. So let's give this a shot, shall we? Now last time I tried this, I said it'd be a short and sweet video. Turned out to be 30 minutes, so this could be lengthy, but I'm hoping it'll get you started. There's a lot more that could be said, but um, we need to take small steps first. Um, so, but in my, I've got three POIs here. Sluisticle's clone facility, one that I've been working on for a long time, but kind of, I've turned it into a drone base, and um, the Free Sandwiches one, which I think is in Project Eden. Uh, please. Typical. I've got five cats, so it's annoying sometimes. And of course, we've got Sluisticle's awesome Crash CV. I mean, look at that, it's marvellous. So this is the current state of play at the moment. As you can see, I got various things spawned in all over the place. So how have I done it? This is what I'm hoping to show you. So let's go down to a bit of flat-ish land. I'm going to turn it into creative mode. I've got three bases I want to spawn in, and we're going to do them one after the other. So the first one we're going to look at, and all of these are going to be linked in the description below. Whoops. The Tresari supply station, which is one of mine. I'm just going to put it down there. So, now if you've watched some of the other videos, you will already know this, but I'll do it again. What we need, if we go to the item menu, devices, we are looking for the alien blocks. And my cat is about to fall off the table, but never mind. So if we right click the alien blocks, you've got all this wonderful stuff. The NPC admin call, which I personally love and think should be everywhere. No, but if you want to know where the NPC admin call comes from, hey, there you go. You've got all the turrets, the alien containers, the spawn pads, which are obviously very important, various deco items. No idea what that is personally, but there we go. And plus, you're so going to make a noise in a minute. So let's go in and we want to replace the core. So we're going to get rid of it. I'm just doing shift right click to get rid of it. And we're going to place the red one. Excellent. So that's good. Now we need to save it. So Alt FO, save my POI. Done. That's saved. So I'm going to press F2, but before I go to the blueprint we've just saved, if you click on internal, like you've got those are your own builds, those are your ones you'll subscribe to from the workshop, the Steam workshop. Those are like the prefabs which come with the game. And then you've got these internal ones. Now these internal ones, this is the list of the POIs. So you can actually find these in the game. So if we go out, go to Empyrion Galactic Survival in your Steam thing, and plus you're very distracting. I didn't even know what he's looking at. Contents and prefabs. Some of my stray ones I've got on there for some reason, but this is the list of all the default vanilla game POI. So hey, cool stuff. So if we go back quickly, so I'm going to type in oops, Xeno auxiliary T1. So you've probably noticed group name and spawn name. So if you want to know what those are for, if you double click them, if you just like double click one of those lines, you end up with this, which you may also have come across but don't really know what it's for. Well, this is for POIs. Now, as you can see, there's 8 here altogether, and they all have the group name. The group name is there for to group POIs together. And in a randomly generated playfield, you can tell it to spawn, say, 2 out of those 8. So it's like randomly picking 2 out of the ones within that group. But it's a group name that you specify, that you code into the playfield YAML file. So this group name here, very important. If you've got a collection of POIs that you want to pick stuff from, so say crashed CVs, you've got your own collection of crashed CV backs that you want to put in. You know, you would give them all the same group name. But for our purpose, I've got 3, but I want them to have 3 different group names. So if we now go back to the POI I've just saved, which my POI, here we go, it's got no group name. Well, I want it to be called supply station. The group name, I'm going to type in Tresari. I'm going to set that for a second. Now, when it comes to the blueprints are flattening the ground, which, if you take another look, blueprint flattens ground, that's kind of self-explanatory, because if I spawn it in, say, there, if you don't tick that particular box right here, this is conceivably how it will spawn in, which you may or may not agree is not really that great for a lot of CVs. It might be the look you want to go for certain POIs, but for my purpose, I want to flatten the ground. So I'm ticking that box. Keep topsoil. Personally, I want that as well. I'm going to see if I can see one very quick. No, that's not the one. If I can't find one quickly, bingo, lovely. So here we go. See, yes. So this is precisely what you will see. So obviously, this is snow, but here it's not snow. It's some kind of gravel, and that is what you will get if you don't tick this box. So this is actually a vanilla game POI, and it is a crashed vessel. So I guess in one respect it might kind of make a bit of sense. Personally, I don't like that though. So if I want to use those, I'm going to have to tweak them a bit. But that's what that setting does essentially. So if we go back to our little area, there we go. So I've explained what the blueprint flattens ground does. To keep topsoil, we've specified our blueprint group name, we've specified our blueprint spawn name, but I haven't explained the blueprint ground offset and the terrain removal. The blueprint's ground offset, essentially, I can kind of demonstrate it here. If you go to spawn in something in a survival game, if you press page up, it'll move the blueprint up. So if I just spawn in the game like that, and if I bring up that box again, there we go. So if I say give it a number of 10, it's going to raise it in the air by 10, the whole thing. If I give it minus 10, it's going to try and do that. Of course, if you happen to have that ticked as well, what you will have is your POI spawning in a great big rectangular hole. So that's essentially what it does. And we'll be seeing that demonstrated in the other two that I want to spawn in. So my POI, as you can see, is completely and totally flat. However, there is one thing that you need to do, and this is something that you always need to do for every single POI, whether it's a base. I don't really know if it matters for the POIs in space, but if you do it for every single POI, whether it's a CV, a base, a HV, or an SV, do this command every single time. So the blueprint name is called my POI. Very creative, I know. So I'm going to get out the console. I'm going to type in prefab info space my POI hyphen clear pivot. Now, if it happens to be, whoops, my POI like that with a space, you would need to put the single quotes in like that, and that would work. Mine, however, does not. Whoops. There we go. File not found. Haha, capital P, that's why. Excellent, so that's done. Now then, if you want to go, you only have to do that once. Only once. So if you wanted to do more work on it, you would have to spawn in a new version and delete these ones. Do not work on those ones, otherwise you'll just have to do it again. Because that command works on the actual file name. It doesn't change the build you have spawned in. So with that done, just as a reminder for me more than anything else, the group name is Dressari. Now we are going to the Empyrion Playfield Designer, and we're going to have some fun. So, yes, here we go. So, in the intro, I asked you, not the video last, but the one before that, I asked you to take a copy of the default multiplayer scenario, copy it, as in paste it, and rename. So I called it Empyrion Planetology. If you haven't done that, just do that. So as I said, copy, paste, and he finally fell off. And it's been, so if I do test, that is what essentially I would like you to do. So obviously I've already got mine, so I'm going to quickly delete that. If you open up your scenario, you have all these files. The first one you need to look at is prefabs. Now obviously I've tried doing this a few times. This is one I've put in there because I'll be coming to that last. The POIs you want to spawn in have to be in this folder. So it's your Steam library folder, Empyrion Galactic Survival, Contents, Scenarios, the name of your scenario, and then prefab. So I need to go and find the my POI file that I've just saved. So if we go back to saves, blueprints, that long number, and there it is. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go back to our scenario file, pfab, and I'm going to paste it in there. So that's good, that's done. Now we're all set to load Empyrion Playfield Designer. It's a pain in the ass when it does this. Incidentally, I've got the latest version. If you haven't got Empyrion Playfield Designer, there's links in the description below. You can use yes, just looking okay. You can use Notepad or Notepad++ and do it manually, but I highly recommend you do it this way. So it's actually asking you to go to your Empyrion.exe file. So that's where I'm going. You can find that in your client folder. So open. It'll do its business. Dun dun dun. Nope, haven't finished yet. As I said, you can when it comes to the Empyrion Playfield Designer, it is really good, and it does make the whole thing a lot easier. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you need to get into a good practice as to always, if you've just added some new POIs to your prefab folders, go to Tools and re-import all prefabs. You'll see me doing this a couple of times. Otherwise, if you don't do this and you add a new POI, it's not going to be in the drop-down list for it to select. So now that that's done, we can now open our scenario file. So contents, scenarios, Empyrion Planetology, playfields. Now, a playfield, if you've heard me saying playfield and you're not sure what it is, every planet essentially has a folder in the playfield folder. The vanilla games, if I go to Empyrion content and playfields, these are all the vanilla playfield files. All right, so that's what I'm talking about when it comes to that. So you can pick any one of these you want. I'm going to choose template starter. As I've said, I've kind of done various versions of this, but it also illustrates when you make a change, it doesn't overwrite. You don't lose your previous changes. It saves a backup of the file. So if you've made a mistake and you need to go back, just rename it to the playfield's static and playfield dynamic files. So the one you want to open is a playfield static file. You can open the dynamic one, but it doesn't really matter which one. So there's a lot of settings here, and in one respect, one way of learning is to just have a play around, just preferably not with the vanilla playfield files. But I'm going to ignore all of this because we're going to focus on POI. So obviously I'm going to click on biomes, not POIs. The reason for that is when you, if I go into the game, bearing in mind this is my plateau planet, so I'm in a biome at the moment called fertile land. You can see that in the top right hand corner. If I zoom around over here, glacier snow, that's another biome. If I zoom here, red plateau. Okay, so what you see in the top right hand corner, red plateau, those are the biomes, and this is where you actually get to see them coded up essentially. So if you want you can specify what kind of biome you want your POIs to spawn in. So I'm going to click on POIs. These are the previous versions. Now, when you first go into yours, you will see a great big long list that is in the game. What I do is just delete them like that, because I just don't need to see them. The other thing which I'm going to do, this is for me personally, you don't have to do this. I get rid of all of these. It just makes it easier to find the POIs basically. Plus, if what we're going to do later on is to make some changes to this, so we're going to want to change those anyway. I am anyway. So let's go to add. So the blueprint name, if you have a look quickly, my POI. So and the blueprint group name is Trisari. So if you type in Trisari, there we go. I'm going to highlight it. If you go down to factions, this essentially tells you what faction you want it to be. Take your pick. The thing about the civilian faction at this precise moment in time, NPCs and turrets will not fight back. Just keep that in mind. For our purpose, I'm just going to spawn everything in as Xerax, but obviously it just depends what you want to spawn it in as. I'm going to do the bare essentials. There are obviously a lot of things here which you can actually do, but I don't want to go through all of these. I just want to show you the bare basic as to just how to get something spawning in. So the biome occurrence. These are the biomes you would like it to spawn in. So I'm going to click on deep forest and OK. I'm going to try Savannah, why not? And we'll try one more as well. Let's try the good old tundra. Okay, now if you want it to not spawn in any particular biomes, it works in exactly the same way. So just to show you how it's done, radiated fog. Okay, there you go. We ignore this stuff. We ignore the POI type as well. That's for other things. The destroyed hover vessel, which you can actually do up in a vanilla game, is actually spawned in using HV_player. That's basically what that kind of thing does. So min-max. If you remember, when we looked at those Xeno auxiliary T1 group, it had 8 in there, and I said, if you recall, you can tell it to specify, say, a particular number, but obviously our Trisari group just has one single POI in it. So obviously what I'm going to do is to get it to spawn in 4. Actually, let's do 3 out of 6. So the minimum it will try and spawn in is 3. The maximum it will spawn in is 6. Alright, so I'm also going to click on this, is important, more tries placing. Because it is possible, it is a randomly generated planet essentially, so depending on how the biomes are, there might not actually be enough room for POIs to spawn. But if it's one that you always want to try and spawn in, tick that box. So obviously we want it to spawn in, so I'm ticking that box. So the only other thing that I'm going to change are these figures. I'm just going to set them all to 0 because we don't have a drone base because I deleted it. So there we go. Honorable mentions in one respect is add. If If you want it to spawn in with some music, you can do so. Regen after, I think the default is 720. So that tells you how often it'll respawn. Let's set some music as well. I don't know. It's a tempered, so let's do tempered. There you go. And that's it. We don't need to do anything else. We're going to click on OK. I'm actually going to delete that one for now. Good. So that's it. I'm going to click on save. It's done. So I'm going to go into our game. Going to go out. I'm going to start our scenario. One thing, if you've got the game open, when you first make your scenario folder, it's not going to recognize it. You need to go out of the game, then back in it again, then it will see it. So for me, it's Empyrion Planetology. Obviously, you want to pick the planet type which you made a change to. Mine is temperate. Makes it easier for me. Let's give it a good old randomization, shall we? And click on start. Now, obviously, this is going to take a while because I've got a bit of a potato of a PC. It's old, so I'll take a cut here. And here we go. Let's see how we get on, shall we? So I'm just going to go into God mode and exit. So there we go. I'm going to type in map in the console. This will give me full view of the planet. And how many did we get? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5, 6. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Or was that? Well, either way, I've got a whole bunch of my supply stations. So here we go. Oh, look at that. Of course, -10. Excellent. Oh, at least that tells you. I love it. I forgot to take the -10 off, didn't I? Well, that shows you what happens. So there you go. Practical demonstration as to what can happen if you get that that value wrong. Obviously, I didn't want that. So, and you can see it does work. The turrets are actually trying to kill me. So AI off. There you go. I'm going to put that to 0 and set. There we go. That one. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go in and copy the file over again, and we're going to start a new scenario game. You honestly couldn't, I couldn't make it up, could you? There we go. I'm just going to paste Soto over it like that. So I'm going to take another cut here, and we'll get back to when we're in a game again. Let's give a good old randomization again, shall we? Set. There we go. And here we are again. So last time I think we got 4. So let's have a look to see how we did this time. We got 1. We got 2. We got 3. We got 4. We got 4 again. That's funny. Okay, so let's go to this one over here. And as you can see, it spawned in perfectly fine. It's perfect. Excellent. And there we go. That is essentially how you spawn in a POI. Now, if that's all you're after, I don't want to get shot. If this is all you're after, hopefully this in itself has been enough to tell you how to spawn something in. All right. However, um, I do want to show you um, the terrain removal in a bit more detail. So I've got two more that I want to do. So I'm going to turn this into a creative, just so that I can get it done easier. And there we go. So this is Excalibur's Grindstone Cauldron. So there we go, item menu. Let's get our alien blocks, because we need to do the core, if I can find it. Oh, yeah, there we go. Get rid of that. There we go. There's our core. Wonderful. I'm going to save it as Cauldron. I'm going to call it Cauldron. I'm going to call it Grindstone Cauldron. I'm going to flatten the ground. I want to keep the top soil. I'm not going to do terrain removal, but I'm going to lower the offset by 2. Now, why am I lowering it by 2? Well, it's because if you go down, you'll see he's got these stairs here, and it's 1 block high. So even if that was not there, I would still need to lower it by 2, or maybe 1, because he's got these small well, they're not even half blocks, thin blocks by there. And the reason why I'm lowering it by 2 is these filler blocks. Now, I know I did that quickly. Item menu, type in filler, and that's the block I'm using. But you can clearly see right here, it's 2 blocks high. And that's what this the terrain offset level deals with. It deals with essentially 1 block, 2 blocks. So because we've got 1 physical block, we need to lower it by actually -2. So I'm just going to get rid of that. So that's good. So that's everything for this one. Excellent. So I've got another one as well. And here we go. I just love this one. We're going to do exactly the same. Go onto our NPC core. Get rid of it. Put the red core in, so that's wonderful. So, you see this one is actually got quite a bit of underground. So, I'm going to say this is going to be our ground level. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think you'll agree that's the one we want. So we've got 7 blocks here. That's 14 in total. So I'm going to save it as Taish or Taiki, however you pronounce it. There we go. Now, I'm going to be very creative here. I'm going to give it a blueprint of Taish. We're going to call it Taish Central Operations. That's good. We want it to flatten the ground. We want to keep the top soil. Now we actually want it -14 because we just worked that out. And I'm going to set it for now. Now the last one is terrain removal. With the grindstone cauldron, we are wherever that is. Here we go. Let's have a look at that again. Here we go. I am not clicking terrain removal. However, for the Taish, I am. And the reason for that is quite simple. If I put terrain removal on here, it just won't look right. If I Well, no, it's not because it didn't look right. My bad. It just doesn't need to. It's got no underground section. Yes, you've got a couple of blocks here, but those blocks need to be hidden. You haven't got an underground section, an underground section to the base where you go down. This one, however, has obviously got a whole underground section. So if you don't click on terrain removal, you will have to dig down as if you had just done. Oops. Come on. All right. There we go. It'll spawn in, and when you come to it, it'll look like that. You'll have to dig down. So that is why on this one, I've got it ticked. So with that done, we now need to go in and add them to our playfield. So the first thing we need to do, don't forget, blueprints. I need to copy them over to our scenario prefab folder. You can see I've got multiple versions of Windows Explorer because it just makes it a damn sight easier. Cauldron, I'm going to copy it and paste. That's good. Now we can go to the playfield designer. We've still got open. I'm going to go tools. I'm going to re-import all the prefabs so it will recognize those two we've just put in. So that's done. That's good. Now we're going to edit my supply station because I just want it as 1. So there we go. That's it. I'm going to click on OK. We're going to add the cauldron, highlight it. I want it as the Xerax. There we go. Now biomes. Cold plains. Savannas. And deep forest. And let's see. Yeah, let's try marsh. I only want 1, so that's good. It's important to me, so there it is. I'm getting rid of the drones. And that's it. That's all we need to do to get it to spawn in. I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to do the same thing twice. I'm going to do exactly the same setting. Savanna, deep forest. I'm going to do don't know if we actually have any swamp in there, but there we go. Untribrated fog. And tundra. There we go. It's going to do 0 because we don't want any drone stuff, and it defaults to 1, which is good. And again, that's all we need to do. But I'm also going to add in this other one, and this is going to be very this will tell you what the next video is going to be about. Tundra, there we go. I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to save it. I'm going to close it. Now I can go in and start a new session. We end up doing a lot of these new sessions. So I'm going to do another quick cut here. I'm going to randomize it first, and we'll get back, but I'm back in game again. And here we go again. So let's see where they've spawned, shall we? Oh, no, hang on. Map. Excellent. So let's go to the cauldron first. Let's get, oops. There we go. Get some light on us. Excellent. And you can see it spawned in. It spawned in perfectly in terms of how we would like it. Let's check the structural integrity. And you can tell it's definitely Xerox because they're attacking me. And it's good in terms of structural integrity. Everything is fine. So that's done. So on to the next one. Has a supply station. So yep, that's looking pretty much like it was. And we do only have one of those. So where did our other type spawn in? So is this the one I want to show you or not? It is. There we go. So first mistake of mine, I didn't actually specify the Xerox faction. So I'm officially an idiot for this one. But you can clearly see that we do have a structural integrity problem. And the reason for this is because these blocks aren't actually on anything. If I spawn in the actual thing again, so this is our actual so this is our actual blueprint. This is essentially what it's doing. Even though you have specified the terrain needs to go down so it looks like it's flat, what you actually have is this. It thinks it's in thin air, so the structural integrity is shot. So if I try adding dusty rate, it won't do it now. Run block onto it. It doesn't like it. And that's precisely what we're seeing here. So the way you spawn it in is the same, but the preparation of how to make it so it's actually integral is completely different. So now if we go back to this one, and this will lead on nicely to the other one, I've actually made some changes to this one, and yes, there are some bits here in red, but I'm okay with that personally. So I'll give you a quick preview in terms of what I did. Oops, let's go away. Come on. There we go. I can talk in peace. Turn integrity off. I've actually had to. There's actually a row of filler blocks on here, but essentially I've just encased it in concrete. I think there's a couple of ways and you can do it. You don't have to have the whole thing in concrete, but I will go over that in more detail in the next one. So we've learned how to put a POI, a randomly placed POI into a randomly generated playfield. We've learned how to lower a POI so that it sits down into the ground. And we've had a sneak preview in terms of some of the problems which face an underground base if you don't prepare the base properly. Otherwise, it's just going to collapse. So with that said, I really hope this has been helpful. I apologise it's gone on for so long because I don't know how long I've been talking, but I think it's probably over 30 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there. We'll pick up where we left off in the next one. Have fun, keep building, stay creative, and I'll say ta-ta.